on Joseph Pilates' book, he had the vision for men and women to become the best version of themselves, to become the best citizens that they can be, the best professionals that they can be, the best moms or dads or students, whatever you are. And that's the message that I want to convey today. I think it is possible. You have to put the work on it, right? Every single day. And for me, it is just a blessing to be able to learn from my mentors and to be able to connect to wonderful, wonderful people all over the world that have the same goals. And it's been a wonderful experience. I could not ask for more. And I just hope that more people have access to it and more people can also understand what the method really is, right?
Welcome to Grind It Out Video Podcast. I'm your host, Katie, and today I have Ingrid Tonelli here for chat. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Katie, for having me. Thank you for your invitation. It is a pleasure to be meeting you and to connect to Pilates instructors all over the world as well.
Amazing. Do you want to give a little introduction of yourself?
Of
So
course,
people can get to know you?
Yes. So I started my certification program in 2016. Before starting my certification, I did not have any experience on the fitness world, on the fitness professional. I was a financial secretary, and I was having a lot of issues on my body, a lot of neck issues, really bad back pain, probably from sitting also for a very long period of time. And I was suggested that I should start practicing Pilates. And I found this studio where I got my certification from with Simona Cipriani at the Out of Control. And from there, I believe like from my very first session, I fell in love with the way that I was able to connect to my body. I was able to connect to my mind. I was able to calm down all my racy thoughts. And at that time, I was going through a lot of personal issues and family issues as well. And that period of time, I found out that I have ADHD and auditory processing disorder. So it was a very big mess, right? And a lot of things being thrown at me all at once. So my practice was like my little time, the time that I had to myself, to reconnect to myself, to calm my nervous system. And again, I fell in love with the way that I was feeling. I fell in love with the process. So very shortly after, I decided to pursue the program because I thought it would be the best way to do this for the rest of my life. And also to help other people to feel the way that I was feeling, being able to help people the way that I was being helped. And 3 years later, I got my certification. During that period, I learned a lot from the program. And I learned also a lot from the business perspective, how things are done. And when I made the decision to open my own studio back in 2021, I felt that I was ready and prepared. And it's definitely the best decision that I have made. I'm very happy about that.
Amazing.
Yes.
So in terms of opening and managing a studio business, what are some of the key milestones or turning points that contributed to your success of it?
Yeah. I did not know everything about the business. I was just going through my certification program.
Yeah.
However, I definitely learned what should not be done. So I'm not saying that I was 100% ready. I don't think anyone is. I was not 100% ready, but I definitely had learned enough about what not to do. And therefore, I felt comfortable and I felt prepared. And it's something that it really grew inside of me to have my own space, my own energy. And I decided to go also in a different way. So I don't have teachers that work for me, they work for themselves, and I rent a space on my studio. And I think that setting was the best to accommodate what I wanted and also my lifestyle. So it's working a lot better this way for me.
How did you start with this idea of owning a studio that rents space out instead of employing, which is the
Yes.
traditional side of things.
Right, right. So after my certification, I was still working in 2 or 3 different studios, and which again, it's not ideal, but that's what I had to do right in the beginning. But I in one of these studios that I was working for, she had this set up, and I thought that, in the future, if I ever open a studio, that would be the setup that I wanted for myself. I think it would work best for me and the teachers that work for me as well.
How do you set the boundaries in your studio then?
Yeah,
I'm
so
just
I
very
was
curious.
yeah, I know, I know. And I saw that in your Facebook group today too, that question. And I think it's a very valid question, right? And
Mhm,
after seeing your question, it made me think, right? Balance. I think balance it's different for each one of us, right?
mhm,
For a 25, 30-year-old with no kids or who is not married, so she has a little more freedom with her time and with her decisions. It's different for 40 plus, right? I'll be 45 this year. I have 2 kids in college, one going into her third year, the my middle child going to the first year. I have a 10-year-old. So it's a completely different lifestyle. So I think balance can vary from person to person, and you have to find what works best for you at any given time. And some teachers, they've been teaching for 20 years, 30 years. So maybe balance had a different meaning from them 10 years ago than,
mhm.
the meaning it has now.
Yeah.
So it's complicated, but I think it takes a lot of introspection. I think it takes a lot. We have different personalities. For myself, I can say that I get burnout easily. I
Mhm,
am very creative. I love social media and I want to do all things all the time, but I am in a better control these days because I know where that's going to lead. And it's going to lead to a place where I am very cranky. I have no patience, and I'm not 100% for my clients, right?
mhm. From you personally, what's your meaning of balance? Like,
Yeah. So for me personally, I don't think the spiritual component of Pilates is taught enough, right? So for me, it's very important and should not be left aside. For me, it's important to take care of my body, to keep up my practice, to take care of my mind, and to take care of my spirituality, right? So I go for my walks. I love to be outside. I am surrounded where I live. I'm surrounded by trees and it's green. I need my time alone. I need
mhm,
time to read. I need time to learn. I need time for my meditation, for my prayers. So that's how I add the spiritual component to my practice, and that makes a whole difference. I am a completely different person if I'm able to keep up, right, with all the energy, all the three pillars. If they are in sync, I am being true to myself and I am a much better teacher.
mhm. Amazing. Oh, that's also reminds me of something that I wanted to ask you from the beginning. Because you mentioned that you had injuries before, and that
Yeah.
initially like inspired you to start learning Pilates and also eventually starting a Pilates studio. And it really connects to your mind and body. Do you translate that in any way in your studio classes to teach your clients?
Definitely, definitely. I keep telling them the importance of, setting that time for themselves and
Mhm,
forget about everything that is happening out there, everything that is happening with family, husband, kids, mom and dad. And I think also newsletters that I send to my clients, emails that I send to my clients, I try to give out this component as much as I possibly can because I truly believe it. It has not worked only for me, but I have heard the same story for many, many, many people, teachers, mentors, clients. And yes, I try, but it's a personal journey, right? So you can only guide as much. You can only take them to a certain point, right? From a certain point on, it's on them
yeah.
to have that practice translated into their bodies, into the brain and the spiritual component of the practice, right? So I think it's something that it's very, very personal. And that as teachers, that's, there's only a point that you can take that and you can guide them. And we try to do our best every single day as we teach.
Would you say that, so you'd be teaching them the concept and boundaries, and the space in the mind, instead of selling them the actual workout, you know?
Definitely, definitely. Because for me, it's not just a workout. And it is sad to see. I mean, this is everywhere. People want to make money. People should be making money. We have our bills to pay. We have our goals. We have our dreams. But watering down the system in order to make it profitable, it really gets me. It really gets me, because I don't think Joseph Pilates, I don't think he was ever for the money. He had an incredible passion. He was a genius. And I try to incorporate whatever he was trying to teach us as much as I can. And of course, we have our own interpretations of the work, but this is for everybody, right? The three pillars, it's on his books, on his teachings. That doesn't change. Between teachers, it might change the style they teach, the way they teach, or the clientele that they are trying to attract. But the three pillars, they will always be part of the system. And like, again, it worked for me. It completely changed my life. It completely changed the way that I see myself as an individual, and the way that I see other people as well, that the way that I see my family or my clients. And I don't love that word clients. I like to call students, because this is what we are, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's a personal journey, so you don't know what that person will do with the information that you are giving them. I can only hope that they're gonna do, the best they can with whatever I have to offer them.
How about from the Pilates instructors and Pilates studio kind of view? What do you think about right now Pilates having to evolve into different types of Pilates from which is the traditional classical Pilates? What is your insight on that?
Yeah, I think it's common. I think it happens in every single modality. You have different modalities of kung fu, martial arts, karate, ballet.
Yeah.
I think that's a component that it's there, and we are not going to be able to change. We are not going to be able to stop also innovation, right? We have people today that are able to build their own Pilates equipment. And I think this is absolutely amazing. I think it's wonderful. And this is innovation, right? But at the end, I think now more than ever, people, they want and they need to connect to themselves, and especially after this crazy pandemic. We do feel the void and the need as human beings to connect. And this is something that it's not going to change ever, ever. This is, as humans, this is innate, right, to our nature. So it really, for me, this is what works for me. I love the traditional method. I teach classical. I will teach classical for as long as I'm able to teach. And when I look at social media, I'm always on social media. You see things that are not safe. Yeah, all the time, all the time. But this is another subject, right? Safety is another subject. But talking about the message that you want to pass on, I think the message should be the same. The message should be the same, again, for martial arts, for yoga, ballet. I think they all have conflicts inside every single modality that will ever exist, right?
Yeah. And it's all about connections and community at the end of the
The
day.
bottom line, all
Yeah.
about connections and building the community and building yourself as well.
Yes.
We have to put ourselves first, because otherwise there's not much you can give. And going back again to the burnout question and
Yes.
finding balance. So you should set yourself as a priority. instead of profits. This is my view, and this is what works for me again. But I've done both. I have lived through periods that I was saying yes to every single client. I think many teachers have gone through the same situation. I didn't have disposable money to pay for my training or to pay for my sessions, and it is expensive. So I was trying to get as many clients and saying yes to everybody. And I know this is not the way. And I know this is the easy way to get a burnout, right? But you live and learn. You live and learn.
Amazing. I'm loving all the things you're saying. I'm already learning a lot.
I'm glad you are. Thank you.
Amazing. Looking ahead, what is the biggest opportunities and challenges in your Pilates studio?
Good question. I think again, after the pandemic, there has been an amazing opportunities for teachers all over the world to be teaching online, to be launching their own program, mentoring programs. We have platforms, we have apps. You can have a session any time of the day and night in the comfort of your home. But at the same time, you want to keep your studio. You want to keep the hands-on approach alive. You want to keep the human connection, right? Which I think is the focus. It's the heart of this method, right? It's how you communicate and how you translate the work through your touch, and through your approach and how you teach. So I think this is a little challenging. Like for myself, I've been, struggling with the idea. I would love to create a program, something like that, online program or online workshop. I've been working on ebook in Portuguese and English, and this is almost done and will be available soon. So I have a project for a book as well. But I think the biggest struggle is to not to get the message across where you make people believe that they are getting the best training or the best experience by working out online, right? I think for all of us who has studios and having a brick and mortar, and you have teachers that work for you or teachers that work with you, you have to keep afloat. Like it's a struggle. It's a struggle, to keep up with everything. So I think this makes me think a lot. This makes me think a lot. Where is the balance, right? To say it's fine and it should be online and it should be everywhere. And at the same time, you want to keep your studio. You want to support the people that you work with. You want to support your mentors by also helping them to keep their studios alive, to keep their studios open. So this is something that I think it's a little challenging for me.
So because of the online, everything switching to online.
Yeah, and by any means, I'm not saying that people should not be doing. I think this is the new world that we live in, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, I think we need to do the best that we can to support the small business, the studios, and especially classical studios. They are, at least in the area that I live in, we don't have many classical Pilates studios, and you want to keep those studios open, right? And how can I support that? How can I support the small businesses? How can I support the teachers? How can I support my mentors who still have, the studios open? So yeah, I struggle a little bit with that.
Got it. Okay, one last question. As we're ending this podcast today, do you have any word of wisdom that you want to share with other studio owners that are maybe struggling right now?
Yeah. I think balance, it's the word of the day or the week or the month, or I don't know, the year. And I think my message is balance. Again, like I said in the beginning, is different for every person. And also to find the spiritual connection into your practice, because I think this is, being put aside a little bit. And it is a component of the method, and it does make a difference on your understanding and your connection to yourself. And on Joseph Pilates' book, he had the vision for men and women to become the best version of themselves, to become the best citizens that they can be, the best professionals that they can be, the best moms or dads or students, whatever you are. And that's the message that I want to convey today. I think it is possible. You have to put the work on it, right? Every single day. And for me, it is just a blessing to be able to learn from my mentors and to be able to connect to wonderful people all over the world that have the same goals. And it's been a wonderful experience. I could not ask for more. And I just hope that more people have access to it and more people can also understand what the method really is, right?
Amazing. Thank you for sharing your story today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Katie. It was my pleasure. My pleasure.